This is Accounting Work Together 4-1. Forms are given in the working papers. Your instructor will guide you through the following examples. Clara Ross owns a service business called Ross Company, which uses these accounts. And we're given about 15 accounts. Our steps: number 1, prepare a chart of accounts. Arrange expense accounts in alphabetical order. Use 3-digit account numbers and number the accounts within a division by tens. Then we're going to have 2 new accounts that are added. That's step number 2. And then step 3 is to open an account within a ledger. So we have quite a bit of new stuff that we're going to do. Okay, when we're preparing a chart of accounts, the first thing we do is put the company name centered across the top. This can be found on page 95 in your book. Next, we're going to put the title of what this is. So we're going to put in Chart of Accounts. And that's centered right underneath the company name. Now we're going to split our chart of accounts into 2 columns. We'll have balance sheet accounts on the left-hand side and income statement accounts on the right-hand side. You'll learn more about what balance sheet and income statement means a little bit later. I'm not worried about you knowing that right now. So I'm going to come here to the left, and I'm just on the first line underneath the titles, and I put in balance sheet accounts. Now the things included on a balance sheet are assets, liabilities, and owner's equity, which happen to be the 3 categories of the accounting equation. Now we're going to start out with assets, and we're supposed to kind of center this within the column. We put in 100 to indicate that that's the numbering system for assets. Then we put in the word assets. That's kind of a little heading. Now, assets are put in order by liquidity, meaning how fast they can be converted to cash. So obviously cash is the most liquid because it's already cash. So we're going to list it first, and we start with account number 110 and the name cash. Then if we look through our accounts, the next would be our accounts receivable. And we usually put these in order by the client's last name. So we have a Megan Alvarez and we have a Tyler Link. So I'm going to do a 120 accounts receivable, and on our chart of accounts we don't abbreviate. Hyphen Megan Alvarez. Then we're going to have a 130, which is another accounts receivable. This one is Tyler Link. Okay, after accounts receivable, we're going to be looking at our supplies account. That's the next liquid. So we're going to put in 140 supplies. And prepaid insurance is usually the least liquid of all of our assets, at least the ones that you'll know about. Okay, so that is our assets section. Next, we're going to do our liabilities section, and those are our 200 level accounts. So I put in 200 in parentheses and put in liabilities. Now our liabilities are all of our accounts payables, and it looks like we have Sure Supplies and Mid-City Supplies, and we're going to put those in alphabetical order by the company. So that means Mid-City is going to be first. So we're going to put in 210 accounts payable. hyphen Mid-City Supplies. And then we'll have a 220 accounts payable. Sure, I don't know how you want to say that. Supplies. Our next section is the owner's equity section. Those are going to be our 300 accounts. And the accounts that we're going to have here are going to be our capital and our drawing. So we're going to start with 310. Clara Ross, comma, capital. And 320, Clara Ross, comma, drawing. Okay, now we've skipped a bunch of accounts right now. They are the ones that go on the income statement side. When you're asked, how do I figure a company's income? Income is revenue minus expenses. And revenue is our sales account. And then expenses would be all of our expense accounts. So that's why those go over here on the opposite side. Okay, so I'm going to come here and label income statement, accounts. And I write too big, sorry. Okay, so our first set is going to be revenue, which will be our 400 level. And we only have one revenue account, which is sales. So we put in 410, sales. Then our next heading is expenses, which will be 500s. And we're going to list our expense accounts, and those are listed in alphabetical order. So we're going to start 510 is going to be automobile expense. Then we'll do 520, insurance expense. $530, miscellaneous expense. $540, rent expense. And $550, supplies expense. Now, we have never used supplies expense. We have only used supplies, so please don't be confused when you start recording stuff. Don't use supplies expense until I ask you to, and then I'll be very specific about how we want to do that. Okay, we're to the second part of this. Two new accounts, postage expense and utilities expense, are to be added to the chart of accounts prepared in instruction 1. Assign account numbers to the new accounts. So we're going to come here and we're going to label this new accounts. And we're going to have an account number. And an account title. That way the next time we print a chart of accounts, we'll know that we need to add these in. Okay, so first we have postage expense. So if we come here and look where that would be alphabetically, it's going to be right in between 530 and 540. So we're going to make this account 535, and the account title will be postage expense. And then the next one is utilities expense, and we see that utilities would be after supplies. So since it's at the end, we can skip up to by 10. So this one will be 560. That would be why we count by tens, so that we can put some in between, and where we don't have to do in between right here, we're going to skip 10 again. On postage expense, it was between 2, so that means we go halfway in between, which would be 535. Now our next step is to open the cash account. So at the bottom here, we have part of the ledger page, and to open an account in your ledger, all you do is write in the account title, which we are opening cash, and then we write in the account number. So if we look at our chart of accounts, cash has account number 110, and that means it's now open in the ledger. Go ahead and do the on your own, following the same steps we just took. Just be really careful when you're putting things in order. Remember, assets are by liquidity, liabilities are by customer name, and then we have capital and drawing. Then we just have revenue over here, and then your expenses are alphabetical as well.